Hi everyone, we're happy to be back as we continue our conversations on unpacking vitiligo. My name is Cerinah Tugume and I lead the team at Serene Beauty. Serene Beauty is working with Satisfaction UG to push this message to the rest of you so that you can learn more about vitiligo and be able to support people that have vitiligo out there, all within this season of World Vitiligo Day. You've seen everything else that has happened. So this is really a continuation of what we've been doing. Today, I'm so excited because we are joined by the wonderful Martin. And you'll find out in a second why we consider him wonderful. So, Martin,
Yeah.
I'm so happy to do this with you today. You're very special to
Thank
people out
you.
there that have vitiligo in Uganda,
Thank
a
you.
very impactful human being. First, tell the people who you are.
Well, thank you so much, Serena. And I'm just so humbled to be in this space.
Mm,
Thank you for thinking about me, first of
mm,
all. And for me, this is a moment I imagined some time back.
mm,
For you can't avoid it. You are a
mm,
figure
mm,
that we notice because of
mm,
the influence, the impact. So I knew someday I had to meet you if I am
mm.
on this journey of
Yeah,
vitiligo.
yeah.
My name is Martin Senkubuge, and
Mm,
I'm a visual artist. I do curation as well, but as a subsidiary,
mm,
and I'm a researcher by default
mm,
because I have to learn about this condition,
mm,
vitiligo. I have to learn about identity and cultural
mm,
heritage. So
mm,
that's why I'm so much into research.
mm,
And I I come from Isingiro.
mhm.
For the version of the village, it's Isingiro.
Isinjiro. I was about to say Isinjiro. What is that? Isinjiro.
Yeah. When you shift, when you come to the city,
Yeah,
somehow
it
the
becomes
story has to,
Isinjiro.
yeah. But I'm born in a family of, I can call it a polygamous family,
Mm,
2 wives, but my dad and my mom got engaged, got married, wedded at some point,
mm,
and I I come from a family of 4 children of my mother,
mhm,
8 of my father, and
mhm.
I'm the second born.
Okay.
And life drove me through school. I got a
Mm,
privilege to be educated.
mm,
Uh, St. Aloysius Primary School in
mm,
Imbarara,
mm,
Nyamitanga, and
mm,
it's a Catholic school. I was born a Catholic. I grew up
mm,
staunch Catholic until
mhm,
later on.
mhm.
Then I made it to Ontario School, where I spent all the 6 years. And for me, that's where life began. That's where
Yeah,
life was started unfolding. The realities
yeah,
about life. You're a
yeah.
teenage, adolescence stage has
Yes,
set in.
yes,
You want to fit in, but you
yes.
can't.
You're deciding
So
who
that's
am
where
I?
most of my decisions, I suppose, came
Yeah.
from.
Okay.
And then later I made it to Makerere University,
Mm,
and I pursued Bachelor's of Industrial and Fine Art.
mhm,
Graduated in May 2021 with a
mm,
first class degree.
mm.
And yeah, later
Wow.
on, life
A
unfolds like
first class
that.
degree in what?
Bachelor's of Industrial and Fine Art.
Okay.
Yeah, I was
So
at the
that makes.
College of Engineering, and it's amazing how I pursued physics, art, and math
Mm-hmm,
at A level
mm-hmm.
with ICT. But
Without
then
art.
I did art,
Okay.
physics, art, and math.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Physics
Yeah,
and math.
yeah.
Okay.
And then, of course, my dad had this feeling of an engineer is coming,
Yeah,
right?
I see. I can smell the
The real
engineer.
engineer is just right there. And it wasn't my passion, really.
Yeah,
So I broke his heart
yeah,
by telling him that, you know what, it's not for me.
yeah.
I'm going to pursue art.
Art.
And he didn't see why.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that he now
Sees
sees why.
why.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
He sees the reason he sees why is
yeah,
because of the impact that you're having, I
The
suppose.
impact, the relevance of the art itself that I
That's
create,
good. That's good.
how it's transforming lives
Yeah.
much more than it would have been probably if I
Yeah.
was an engineer.
Yeah.
And I say that because where your heart is really,
Yeah.
it's where you will never think of anything like a challenge in your life.
Yes.
So I felt like I was going to be so challenged if I pursued my dad's dream.
Yeah.
But because it's my dream, I'm held
Yeah.
accountable.
Yeah.
Like, you chose the path,
Yeah.
then deal with whatever it is.
Yeah.
So I have enough reasons really to fight on and ensure that I do as much impact as an engineer would do.
Yeah.
I do as much impact as a medical doctor would have done, or even much more.
But as an artist this time.
But as an artist,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, which then leads me to the next question. So, how does that bring you into the vitiligo community? I'm sure people are looking and saying, "Where is his vitiligo?
where is his
Where is your vitiligo?"
I have it just because people don't see it.
Your vitiligo is inside the heart. let's hear about that.
You know,
That's crazy. It hasn't yet
because
manifested.
everyone is a victim of what they have made it. Like, I say victim, not because people living with vitiligo are victims,
Yes.
but because of what the society has, packaged it to be. And I always say that because anyone out there can get vitiligo.
Yeah.
So meaning that you can be a victim of what you've already created. So I come out as someone who is not having the condition, but I know it can come out anytime, anytime. So I'm not ready to be a victim. I would want to change the narrative.
Yes.
I would want to see that actually when you get vitiligo, you don't get that much panic.
Yeah.
It might set in that
it's
maybe
not
you're
a big
changing.
deal. It's like getting a pimple.
It hasn't stopped you, right?
No, it hasn't.
From achieving something.
Yeah, it could have, but it hasn't.
Yeah, it hasn't limited you whatsoever.
Yeah.
To create a legacy
Yes.
that every young lady out there
Yeah.
would be looking up to if they know about who Cerinah is. So I come in this sense of course, you've asked me, so how do I get
what's
into
your
the
connection? You are an artist.
Yeah.
What's your connection with the vitiligo community?
As an artist, I remember there are a few statements that were going on during the study, the school. When you look back into the art history, we get to learn about people like the Da Vinci's, Leonardo da Vinci, Caravaggio's, and so many other artists, the Rembrandts. These are gentlemen who existed on Earth. They were not architects per se, except maybe for people like Da Vinci, who invented most of the inventions that medical doctors use right now. Much of the, the innovation systems that architects use right now, measurements and so technical things. But he was an artist as well. He had a creative mind, because that's where it begins from. And if we only knew the power of creativity, then we would use it for something very positive and important. Because we have the power to either change the world negatively or create positive influence. So what you choose amidst your emotions, amidst your thoughts, amidst your life experiences, where life places you, you need to respond positively whatsoever. I went through a life where I was born in a background that I can say less privileged background, a humble background. And those roots taught me the hard life, where I would see classes in my community, where I identify as a Munyankole, and I want to believe that I belong to that tribe. But we have also other categories, the Vairu and the Bahima. Growing up, seeing how there's some sort of, supremacy, differences between the cattle keepers and the cultivators. And for us being cultivators, seen as
a little, not quite there.
That for me posed a lot of questions at an early age. Then go to school, see these, being in entire school, studying with sons of presidents, first of all, sons of ministers, influential figures.
Husbands of Cerinah.
Husbands of Cerinah. Yeah, I'm glad to know that actually is an hobby. And literally, these are children and these are boys who are coming from, I can say, well-off families, well-planned families, organized spaces. And then I'm in this space I would want to fit in. I have to start digging inside me for a sense of belonging.
Yes.
But then I don't have a reason to give.
Yes.
It's only art for me that became my refuge, my solace.
Way to express.
That place that I go to and create something unique, and people start appreciating me for. I'll give a few examples of, because I would want to bring it to a point where, how do I resonate with someone who's living with vitiligo? It's not the outside that we see that actually affects them.
Yes.
It's the inside.
Yes.
It's the places that we don't see, the questions that are unanswered within the person living with vitiligo.
Yeah.
Not because of who they are, but because of what society has already made it seem like.
How society is defining you.
Thank you.
You have vitiligo.
Yes.
You are burnt by twins.
You're burnt by
twins.
Like,
all kinds of things. Yes. So they are kind of creating your identity.
And they keep questioning you.
Yeah.
But you can't explain it because you don't know sometimes.
Yeah.
So personally, I didn't know why I was born in a less privileged family.
Yes.
Why wasn't I born in that other family?
Yes.
Why
do I have to struggle?
Why do I have to struggle in life? Life is not fair. It's what I used to tell myself. But yet indeed, sometimes because I'm a believer, I believe in Jesus Christ, and my faith teaches me that everything happens for the good of those that love God
and are called according to
his purpose. So if I can get to know the purpose of my life, then I'll appreciate the journey that he allows me
put you on,
because it's all predestined, right? So for me, getting to recognize these abilities in me that I got out of experiences, the ordinary experiences, being on ground and experiencing life, the soil, knowing how the earth smells. As a creative mind who did quite a lot when I was a child, I grew up in getting in these spaces, get to see people living, not living with vitiligo, but in the spaces of school, different classes, students identifying you because you are putting on certain brands. And there were those trends that I would want to fit in, but I'm putting on a baggy pant of my father. Yeah, this is high school, right?
Yeah.
You're writing letters to the girls because the feelings have already started evoking. You write to the girl about I have almost all the mails that those girls wrote back to me. My copies that I wrote to them, seeking out for and feedback. But I don't think there was a positive feedback that I ever got.
You were very deep, Vanai. You were in school, but you were very deep, dealing with deep things. You were keeping copies.
Because I don't want to make mistakes. And I know there's somewhere where I'm going that this is going to be evidence for me. So I decided to keep those mails. Many people, of course, my friends would burn them, tear them.
Wow.
But I said, no. I think there's something beautiful.
There's a story building.
There's a story.
Even the rejection is beautiful. It's part of a bigger story.
Yeah. So growing up, getting through school, and then Makerere University, then I get to see things happening and life beginning to unfold, where I was sponsored by the government because I did well at A level. So I qualified for government scholarship. And that turned my life around. I knew I didn't have a reason to really say no, to being successful, to being excellent, to being exceptional. Now that government is paying my tuition, because it was one of the reasons why I didn't pursue what my dad wanted me to do. My question to him was, are you going to afford the architecture you're telling me to pursue? If we get 3 years down the road and money has failed to come, what are we going to do? And he couldn't answer them. The only question he asked me is, now, are you fearing the results? Are you beginning now to panic? You didn't do well or what? Because results hadn't yet returned. But I told him, no, it's not like that. I just want a path that is well structured, that I know when I do this, this leads me to that. I love being systematic. I don't like wasting time on things that I know they're not meant to happen in this particular time. So I get to the university, get done with school, have an experience. But then when I was getting out of there was an exhibition just before I graduated. We had an exhibition, World's Speak, at Kingdom Kampala. And this was on the 28th of September 2019. This is the monumental moment that happened. This lady walks to me, wants to buy one of my artworks titled Melanin Tattoo. And Melanin Tattoo was talking about bleaching. I'm always fascinated by our own cultures, our own standards as Africans, appreciating the beauty that we have, rather than trying to bleach yourself, destroying yourself. How about you just retouch that simple melanin that you have, make it glow a little.
Give it a glow, but don't change it.
Yeah, and I know you, of course, you are an expert in that area. So for me, I was bringing out this voice of, please, let's not bleach, until I mentioned, like Michael Jackson. And this lady's like, oh, Martin, I'm so detached from your work. And I'm like, why? She's like, yeah, because I thought artists make research before presenting their work. And I'm like, oh, I thought. Meaning that I did
you
not
had
make
not researched. You did not know that he had vitiligo.
Yeah, reason why I now have to make research before I come out to speak, before I execute any artwork.
Yeah.
I'm very, very careful, very keen with everything that I do.
She pushed you to be excellent.
She pushed me. That moment, I was getting done with school. I knew I was being an excellent student in the art school. I mean, I was inspiring many young upcoming artists, even when I was still an upcoming artist myself. But you get challenged by someone who is just a civil servant, who is just someone underinformed about a skin condition. So she's the one who was like, no, Michael Jackson had vitiligo. And I'm like, on earth, what is vitiligo? Hey, like that for me, when I went back home, luckily enough, the artwork was bought, and I even had one of the paintings auctioned $4,000. I was so happy. Literally, my work was powerful from that time, meaning that it was going to make as much money as I would want. But I don't want whatsoever to make my art a money-making machine, and that's it. Because at the end of the day, when it loses its value, it will be thrown away. I would want work that is going to hang in museums, work that is going to be referred to thousands of years, that there's a time someone documented this, and this is what happened. But I felt I wasn't ready because the lady challenged me. So when I went back home, I started researching about vitiligo. We were getting news that COVID-19 is coming. And then I said, I have to find out what vitiligo is, only to get to see it's what most people know as all sorts of myths. That I wouldn't want to promote on such a platform.
I know.
I just hate them. Whatever people call it, it's wrong. It's not true. So I get to learn the truth. I ask my friends, do you guys know vitiligo? And they're like, what is vitiligo? And I'm like, the people living with white patterns, blotches on their skins. Like, yeah, we know it as this and this. I saw how many more of my friends were not informed. And my life background now sets in trying to ensure that, first of all, actually, before it even sets in, I reach out to different people. I remember I got a number of Daphne Walusa, and she was the first person I contacted. And I told her, someone told me that you're living with a condition, vitiligo, and there's something that I've encountered recently. This is how I feel about it. I feel like we need to create a narrative in Uganda. I just got so triggered, like to make a change after realizing that actually we are not informed at all. So Daphne says, okay, Martin, I've heard you and I understand the concept you're trying to bring up, because she understood me because she was from the art school. She did art. So I was happy that, wow.
Had you met her before?
Not really.
Okay.
It's one of my lecturers when I presented my final project. It was about vitiligo as well. that said, there's a lady who was here.
Yeah.
You need to meet her. I don't remember who shared her contact, but by God's grace, I was able to get in touch with her. So she shared other contacts of about 4 or 5 people. As people were asking for, do you know someone who knows someone living with COVID-19? Because I remember
you are
that's
looking
the
for
time. Yeah, I was asking it.
You are looking for people who have vitiligo.
You know someone who knows someone living with vitiligo.
Wow.
And that time, I can't explain it. It was too divine because I considered the 28th of September, that interaction, that moment, as a life-changing moment, as a moment of divine invitation for intervention.
Wow.
Like, Martin, you have to intervene.
Wow.
I'm looking for a man who will stand in the gap, but I'm not seeing any. I said, God, here I am.
Here.
Reason why people can't understand me.
Yeah, because you don't have vitiligo. Yeah. I mean, when I first heard about you, I thought, okay, maybe he has someone really close to him that has vitiligo, and that has moved him to start to create his art. So tell us. So at that point, you start researching people who have vitiligo. Yeah. What were you looking for? Were you looking, because it looks like you were already doing art. Yeah. How then do you shift? So you've told us that you were challenged at that point. So
when the lady challenges me, I remember this little girl that we used to have at home. We used to study with her in my primary, and she used to have gray hair and then some
gray lashes.
Yes. We never understood. No one cares.
She had vitiligo.
I think she did.
I now so her lashes had now
they were
turned
gray. And then spots of gray hair.
But with pink?
No,
just gray hair.
Only gray.
No, I don't think that's vitiligo. If all she had was gray hair.
The gray eyelashes, because I get to see that actually also vitiligo can turn that hair
where the
gray.
patches are pink.
I didn't see the pink. I don't recall.
But
there
she
were
was different.
Spots. She was different.
Yeah.
Then I used to hear my mom tell me one of the myths. And of course also other people around. And I'm like, okay, what's that? So it's this time that story made sense for me. That actually we were having misconceptions about this person, just we didn't know.
You know what I find interesting as you share? How you don't even want to mention the myth. Yet you do not even have vitiligo. No one has said it to you, but you feel that deeply about it. But just for the sake of those who are listening, that myth is people think that when you have vitiligo, it means abalongo bakocha. And I'm sure in the comment section, you will have some people saying, no, that's actually what it is. And that's because they do not know. And so I think it's okay for you to educate. It's okay for you to say what it is they think. And correct them.
And correct them. Okay, thank you for that. I had to be permitted first because I don't like using certain platforms where we want to spread the positive.
But sometimes you have to. You have to undo it. So you have to
teach
communicate.
people how to unlearn. Teach them this is what it is then. All right, thank you so much. And this Bible verse inspires me a lot as well. My people perish
for lack of knowledge. Yeah, it's true.
If we all knew how deep that verse is.
You know, when you say that, like for somebody with vitiligo, when you don't have knowledge, you are at the mercy of other people, other people's ideas and views on what's happening to you. And so, and remember what Dr. Malik said on World Vitiligo Day, that vitiligo is one condition that's very much connected to the mind. And so if in your mind you think that actually what's happening to me is, some people will come to you and say, you are bewitched. So I think they bewitched me. Who bewitched me? Other people will tell you, Abalongo culture. Then you're like, which twins? What did I do to them? What am I supposed to do to correct it? Okay? So then you're trying to fix your problem with the wrong solution. And yet, for everyone who has vitiligo, the day they attain their peace, it starts with them understanding, okay, so this is what has happened to me. Oh, it's a skin condition. Oh, it is. The antibodies are fighting the cells that produce melanin, and so there's a problem. Now my skin is not producing melanin. This is what I can do. There's this kind of treatment, but it will not really cure. There's no promised cure, but I can live a meaningful life. It is not going to kill me. So just having that information and dealing with the struggle correctly is really the beginning of you having a meaningful life, and as you live with it. And it's not like it's something that's going to kill you. It's not going to hinder you from having a life. But that lack of knowledge can actually cause you to perish. How many people have you met who have vitiligo who want to commit suicide?
Quite a number.
Who have gone into depression and cannot live a meaningful life. It's because of lack of knowledge. Yeah.
You know,
and that's why we're doing this, to try and educate so people out there can know and tell someone that is struggling around them, or support a person out there who's struggling with the right knowledge.
With the right knowledge. Yeah.
So God calls you to vitiligo.
God
Tell
calls
us more.
me, and I had to say yes. I had to respond.
How did you struggle with that? Did you feel like, but I'm going to lose money in other forms of art? I mean, you are a first-class student. You could be doing so many other things.
I think it was more of an affirmation. It was, when the time is right, it's interesting, because I was also at a point where I was looking for the relevancy of my work.
Okay.
We see young upcoming artists, they're desperate enough after school. It's not easy to transition into the field, because you have maybe sometimes only draw the famous people. So that they mention you somewhere on big platforms and then you get recognized.
Yes.
But I said, it's time to change that.
You wanted
let the infamous be famous first. The famous we shall come.
Yeah.
The people who we do not know.
The voiceless.
The voiceless that we don't see. They actually have something to say.
The weak, the hurting, the
those
broken,
that we think that are weak, yet it's us who have, constructed this environment for them. Let them actually come out and say, this is who we are. I was always looking for that. I was looking for something. And when vitiligo came, the narrative about vitiligo, I said, this is, I think, for me. But then I wanted to be convinced that this is the area that I will feel comfortable with. Because along the journey when I had started, people were suggesting, you can also actually touch other skin conditions, other disabilities, because they were seeing that the work that I was doing
was meaningful. But you're like,
I told them, no.
I'm called to vitiligo.
I'm called for this.
Come
and
on.
There's a vision. There's a vision for it. I gave myself 10 years. I think I made a contract with God. If certain things don't come within 10 years,
I quit.
Yeah. And he's like, no, Martin, you've not understood the assignment.
Yes.
I felt like it was my project.
We're going the long haul.
He took me the long journey. And I said, okay. But luckily enough, things that I had anticipated to happen in 10 years happened within the first 2 years.
Wow, to kind of affirm you. Like what? Tell us.
I had my first trip to Venice about the same narrative.
And that's like an art city.
Venice is the destination of art.
Wow.
This is a city, one of the most tourist destination cities, about 50,000 people per year annually.
Yeah.
A city that sits on 400 islands.
Wow.
One of the cleanest cities in the whole world.
Yeah. So the dream city for any artist.
Yeah, I used to watch Da Vinci, and he has been in that space.
And so that's like an affirmation to you that, yes, I've called you to do this. Yeah. You're on the right path.
Yeah.
And some of your quiet personal dreams I will meet to encourage you along. Yeah.
Those small things.
Yeah. And they are valid. So I will encourage you along the way. So right now you identify as a vitiligo artist.
Yeah, as an artist who creates vitiligo art.
Wow.
Because it has to be a movement. It's movements that change. It started as a moment that has to lead to a movement.
Wow.
Because every movement starts with one person.
Wow.
Like
one courageous person who has to die to self.
They will risk. Yeah, you die to yourself.
Yeah.
No. And for purposes of the rest, if Jesus hadn't died, we wouldn't have the much influence that is going on right now.
Yeah.
The power that we can't see.
Wow.
But we feel. So I know there is a time, I remember I shared with you sometime back when we met, that I always anticipate, like, I give myself 1,000 years if the earth is still existing. People will look back and ask, why were people...
What was all that big deal?
What was going on?
What was that?
Right?
Why were people making a big deal about vitiligo? Honestly, it is coming.
Right?
That time is coming.
So for 3,000 years, it's been affecting people. Over 3,000 years.
Yeah.
The constraints of identity crisis.
Yeah.
Culture trying to bend.
I think that won't change. Like identity crisis. Some of us
They will
struggles
always be there.
will always be there, but in terms of specifically addressing vitiligo,
I think we all have different questions that are unanswered, and anything that is unanswered can actually kill you, it can destroy you, even when you don't die out of the flesh, but mentally you kill so many dreams, you kill so many visions. If I took the different complexities that I experienced in high school, the rejections I received, the spaces I was denied access because I'm not dressed a certain way, if I took that and never found answers for it, I was going to be like so many of my friends who are having the life that they don't deserve right now. I don't know, I would be somewhere.
What you're saying is really powerful because there's so many people that are just living life to just get by. No real purpose because of that. And they don't even know that that is it. So they're just settled. And they just do what will bring the paycheck. And yet you're meant for something great, something big. Like you were created for a purpose. But we are not willing to step into that purpose because first we have to address who we are and what we have, what has broken us. Heal it, then we can step into what we were created for.
Many are fearing to be vulnerable.
Yes, especially the men. I think it's very hard for men to be vulnerable because it makes you feel weak. And you want to be strong. You want to feel strong and in charge, in control.
And we forget that before actually God trusts you with that big vision, He has to first break you. He has to ensure that your heart is humble enough. Because it takes a king humility to get down and get the power and serve. A king
to look at
pride,
leadership.
a king with they cannot last. We've seen that from generations. Back. So for one to be a king, they have to be humble enough. So I was humbled by life, but I had to own my story. I had to stop denying my experiences. I had to stop, fighting to write it off. It's a life I went through. It makes sense to someone out there. I want to tell someone that you can actually, diamond is out of the rough. It's out of that. It's one of the most expensive minerals. But for you to access it, there are those dirty things that you have to break.
And not a very beautiful process.
Gold itself is one of the most valuable, minerals. It has to go through the fire. Process. Right? Not around, you only test it by fire. So if someone is not willing to go through the fire, most of the artists, most of the creatives, they want to go through shortcuts, go through the fire, and then come out refined. So for me, that hope, that anticipation of one day, one time, if I see the generation that I have, influenced and impacted positively, made a mark of change, and impacted different lives, helped people realize who they are, because that's something I needed as well. I wanted to know this life that I've lived, my father being this and that to us, seeing the tears of my mother for about 20-something years. Seeing her willing to sacrifice. Seeing her being patient with us. We reached a point with my siblings. We suggested to our mom, I think we were in high school, why don't you take a break? Get out of this village. Leave dad alone here. Just go be somewhere. And she's like, no. We saw that she had enough reasons for her to get out of this home. Leave us there. We shall handle. But she knew, she was like, these are little boys, they don't know what they're saying. But it was that much, the stigma, the what. I don't want to put out my dad's story out there yet. I'm not yet ready to do that. And he hasn't yet permitted me to do that. But it's not, it wasn't called for. I feel like people do certain things because they don't understand the positions they're in. We have the power, but we end up misusing it and it destroys generations. So coming out as an artist who wants to create a change, who wants to actually be relevant in my work, I'm not going to draw the president's portrait to go and meet them.
So
And
that you
then-
get a chance to meet the president for
Yes.
yourself.
Nah,
Yeah.
let me do something until the president says there's someone
Who is
doing
this?
this. I want to meet that person because it's possible.
And at the end of the day,
Yeah.
like you said, your real audience is God. You're saying, God, you've called me to serve your people,
Yeah.
to help your people who are struggling. And this is what you've put in my hands to be able to help your people.
Very.
Let me do that. You're not seeking audience with the president, with earthly kings, really. You're seeking to help the weak and vulnerable and the struggling, the hopeless.
Yeah.
I think that's really beautiful, and that's what art is about. That's what art should be
You
about.
mentioned that, and I remembered Saul and David. Both of them were kings. One chose to please people. Another sought after the heart of God. And that was David. He accepted certain things to happen, and people were like, what? Even his wife seeing him in a sackcloth dancing,
like,
a whole king,
a
you
whole
take
king?
down your glory
She laughs and rolls her eyes.
for the sake of God. Let me do this. For me, having ticked that checkbox of God saying you found your purpose, something that will not attract money now, because you're not here to just make money, but will attract value. Because there's a difference between money and value. When we attach prices to certain things, I think we limit ourselves.
Yeah.
If you attach talent, you tag a certain price to it, there are certain spaces you'll never be into. Reason why it's even hard for us to sell these artworks that I create now.
Yeah.
Because how much are they?
I know.
These are
You're not
stories
really doing it.
These are stories that are revolutionary. How much can you sell that story? It's Isaac's story. How much worth can we attach to it? You know, so not until these artworks get into the spaces that they are supposed to be in, I don't think I can let any artwork out of my space.
So, how are you surviving?
The capitalism world.
Yeah, no, how do you then? Okay, I think it's beautiful what you're doing.
Yeah.
I see the value. I see the need. Who is helping you take the message of vitiligo out through art?
Yeah. You know, I'll start with the scripture as well. The Lord that started a good work in us, He will bring it to accomplishment. He will sustain us.
Yeah.
And the plans that He has are not plans
for good,
to harm us.
not
They
to
are
harm
plans
you.
to prosper us, plans to take us far.
Hope and a future.
And there's nothing I can do about tomorrow.
Yeah.
But at least I have something I can do today.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So if I can be able to do a few things aside, because this has been the journey. Before we got one of my artworks being collected by the right space, by the right person. Before that, I used to do commissioned work. Commissioned in a sense that if you have an event or someone you love or someone you are connected to and you just want to gift them with an art piece created by Martin, then you would reach out and, you know, we do this. And I create an artwork. The little that I would get, invest it back in these projects. People living with vitiligo, to ensure that we have the World Vitiligo Day celebrated. Before we celebrated this year's, we've tried some before. I got into debts at some point because I really wanted something to happen.
Wow.
And I didn't accumulate the money that I wanted, so I had to complement.
Yeah.
To get a supplementary budget.
Yeah.
In a debt
and
format.
yet this time we did it quite easily.
Yeah, it was
No
small.
struggle.
You don't know the joy I had on that day. Even the day, I think it was like 3 days before, when you called me, you don't know how much peace you set in my heart.
Wow.
I was so waiting on God to do something.
Wow.
I was like, God, I'm not going to frustrate this time. Do it your way.
Wow.
And He did it His way. I think some of the stories I'll just keep on sharing with you
as
when
we
we
go
get
along.
to catch up and all that. Yeah, but the other sources of my income have been the organizations and individuals who realized that Martin is doing something sensible. So when I submitted my proposals, they would fund me.
Okay,
So I've
that's
been
great.
getting grants,
Yeah.
art awards. I've
Yeah.
been getting much of my finances from that direction, paying the bills, taking care of myself. Yeah, but they were not enough, of course. They have not been enough to meet the needs of what is expected from me by my family.
So what keeps you going?
What keeps me
Because
going?
clearly it's not money.
Yeah. I think for me,
Yeah.
it's what keeps me going is the hope for. It's my faith, first of all. Things not seen, but I have the confidence that they will come to pass. The assurance that seek first the kingdom of heaven. And the kingdom of heaven, when we say it, people want to think of this mulokole, what? No. The kingdom is within us. The kingdom is inside us. We are just supposed to spread it. Seeking the kingdom is seeing a reflection of us being the real image that God created, or created in God's image.
Giving people an experience of God's rule. God's kingship.
The values of God. Bring that
Giving
structure
people a
of
taste
God
of
through
God's
you.
goodness. Yeah.
Bring it in this kingdom. On this earth. Because even when Jesus was teaching us to pray, he said, let your kingdom come. He didn't say, let us come to your kingdom.
Yeah.
Let your
Let
kingdom
us experience
come. Let
you.
us have an experience. So going through that and getting to know that I'm actually supposed to just spread that love, I'm trying to remember Psalms 139:14.
You're
Fearfully
fearfully and
wonderfully
wonderfully made.
made. I want to see that come to pass.
Yeah.
And when I get a few testimonies from people, a friend of mine now, very interesting model, and anyway, I'm not supposed to reveal the identities yet, but so many different people who have had thoughts of, let's say, committing suicide.
Yes.
Let's say, detaching from family,
locking themselves up in the
themselves
house.
up, smearing charcoal on themselves to fit in.
That is very tough.
So my question is, until when?
Yeah.
My identity crisis as an individual, I'm told I originate from a white man, but then I'm told I'm from Rwanda, I'm told from this. So all this, until when? How about we rewrite the story, tell what it is, and change the narrative? So what keeps me going is the hope for the many testimonies that we are yet to have. Many people coming out and being free indeed.
Yeah.
Knowing the truth and it's setting them free.
It's true.
It's only the truth that sets people free.
Yeah. That's
and
nice.
the devil wants to keep hiding it away.
Yeah.
Piling it on the other side.
Yeah.
But once we get to know that this is the truth, if you get to have a friend who is truthful to you, you always trust them with everything that you have. So I would want to be that person, and the hope that I'm yet to see very many people get their freedom that they deserve on earth, live in peace, live with joy, and focus on their purposes for their lives as well. Create influential spaces. For me, it's what keeps me going, really. I can't lie. However much I can't avoid the fact that I know there is a lot of rewards that are going to come out of my efforts. So one day when people see a lot of money coming
if not here in heaven,
if not here in heaven, at the end of the day, the treasure, because the one that lends, that gives to the poor, to the needy, lends God.
And he will repay back in
and
full.
He'll pay back in thousands of folds, right?
Yeah.
So when that time comes as well, people shouldn't complain.
That this guy is doing well. What's up? He's happy
because it's there, it's coming, so they shouldn't complain.
Yeah.
But I would want to first see these many testimonies come to pass. The more I create the art, it's now even expanding beyond boundaries. We have a model in the UK, one of the top models there, living with the condition, who already is getting on my series of temptations. It is going to be the next artwork that I'm creating. We
Wow.
already finished the photo shoot. What?
That's
It's
amazing.
It's amazing things that are coming up.
People don't realize the impact of what they do. When I think of that model, that Canadian American
Winnie
model,
Harlow?
Winnie Harlow,
Yeah.
and just the fact that she came out and put herself out there, and how much she educated the world. We don't realize that those little steps we take, where we put ourselves aside and take those courageous steps, how much impact it can have on others. Yeah. So let me ask, from your experience with the vitiligo community in Uganda, what would you say has been your greatest impact so far? And what are you most proud of?
Most proud of.
Yeah, when you think about how you have touched people in the community, what has been your greatest impact so far? And what are you most proud of? You can join them or you can answer them separately.
So far, I have an artist called So Far.
Really?
Yeah, I did it in my first series.
Interesting.
And I was promising myself that every time I reach a point of giving up, I tell myself, so far, so good. This is how much you've achieved already. First of all, I have more friends living with vitiligo. And for me, that brings me joy. That means I've been able to hold their trust. Because from 2019 to 2024, they would have already put some holes somewhere and said, this guy, no. But at least the people that I started with right now, they are still with me. And some of them are in positions where they are doing even much more than I would have done.
Wow.
Leading organizations of people living with vitiligo.
Yeah.
We also already have an organization, Mundo Foundation, that now complements other organizations like Vitiligo Association of Uganda, who started a little earlier than us, who are so much into advocacy and the legal rights and all that. And us, we are also coming as creatives to supplement or complement what they are doing. So already seeing certain systems taking their structural foundations, for me, that gives me hope. And that tells me, Martin, thank you for not giving up the 3 different times you thought about it. And what am I proud of most? I think that one person who decided to call me and told me was going to commit suicide.
A person with vitiligo?
Yes. And then I said, no, come home. Let's spend time together. And they wanted to talk. And right now, I see her in a position where she's influencing people.
Wow.
She's changing people's lives.
And they could have committed suicide.
It's possible because these stories are there.
Yeah. Yeah.
We can easily think, no, he wants to look for a vulnerable story. But no.
No. Yeah.
She wouldn't have done maybe what she's doing now.
Yeah.
And I'm glad it's not only me who says this story. She tells that story to other people as well.
Yeah.
And I'm happy for her. And I want her to know that I told her, I remember the time we met, what I saw on her is favor.
Wow.
And I just pray that she doesn't forget. I know she knows herself when she watches this.
Yeah.
Yeah, she shouldn't forget that she's favored by God.
Yeah.
And meant to change this narrative, any form of misconception about the condition.
What I hear you say is to give people hope. You don't have to have the exact same challenge because we all have different challenges. When I did an interview on vitiligo last year with a content creator on YouTube, sharing my story, I got so many messages from people telling me that I don't have vitiligo, but everything you shared there, I needed it.
It was much beyond than the physical.
Yeah, which really goes to say that vitiligo is a condition of discoloration of skin that affects us a lot on the inside, emotionally and psychologically. It creates a unique struggle to the person who has it.
Yes.
But that struggle is not unique to a person with vitiligo.
No.
It is common to human beings.
Human being.
And so when you are doing what you're doing, you're not only giving hope to that person,
Yeah.
but to other people that
Other
struggle
people.
with whatever
Yeah.
kind of challenges.
Yeah.
Starting with yourself.
So much I've
Because
felt
from what you
those
have said,
emotions
what
as
you've
well.
said is that I'm well, and so I can support others
Yes.
through what the gifts I have.
Mm.
I think that's just so beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank
and
you.
really that gives so much meaning and purpose to the work you're doing in art. And if we could all find that meaning and purpose to whatever work we are doing, what a beautiful world. Well, I mean, then you know that you really are living your full life and what you were created to do.
I know you're one of the advocates of the inner beauty.
Yeah. And it's because of vitiligo. To be honest, vitiligo taught me that it is too small a thing to refer to beauty as just your outward appearance. That can just change. That fades.
Yeah.
I had David sharing the other day, we were doing an interview, and he said that beauty fades, beauty is fleeting. And I'm like, a man is saying this, and it's true. It's not just even a feminine thing.
Yeah.
And it's not completely within your control. You can do everything. You do your skincare routine and all. And so if you're so obsessed with outward beauty and something happens, then what's left of you? Yeah. And it's funny that the Bible actually teaches that. It says in 1 Peter that let not your beauty come from outward adornment, such as gold, jewelry and all of that. Not saying that there's anything wrong with doing nice hair and having it, but let your primary focus be that inner beauty. A gentle and quiet spirit, which is of great worth in God's sight. Even God acknowledges that as true beauty. And so for me, because of having gone through what I went through, when my approach to the business that I do is I'm here to help women look and feel beautiful. But it's not just about how they look on the outside, but I can do so much more in helping them grow beauty right from the inside and just redirect them inside so that they're not just focused on physical features, which you can control for a while, but life eventually, time will catch up with you. Like it fades, it goes. You can never be the same exact person. And you see people in the world praise people who are 70 and looking 40. But is that realistic? Can we all achieve that? And is there anything wrong with your outward beauty fading? There's nothing wrong. But if your inner beauty is fading, you can do something about that. And you should be doing something about that on a daily basis. You should be growing in beauty and in how people experience you, in character, in skill, in useful knowledge that does bless others and build others. And so that for me, vitiligo gifted me with that. Honestly, it was a gift that vitiligo gave me. And I have no regrets. So yeah, but this is a beautiful conversation we have had. I've enjoyed it thoroughly. I hope you have as well. And I hope you're encouraged. I hope you've taken something special out of this. Honestly, if you take the time to listen to this guy, there's so much there. If you're thinking, why do I wake up every morning and have to hustle and do what I do? It's because maybe you need to look for meaning and purpose in what you're doing so that it can keep you going on those tough days or those days when you question, why am I doing what I'm doing? And for someone out there who has vitiligo, say something to them as we close.
Someone who is living with vitiligo, I would want to let you know that there is something that defines you more than the outward, just like Cerinah has shared, because when someone living with any other disability gets identified as who they look like, it ceases to have the meaning of me. Who are you? When you write the word me, when they remove the arm, do you stop being you?
No.
When they remove your ear, do you stop being you? Do they change your name? And God knows us by our name. So if God knows the person that he predestined to be here, it doesn't matter what happens on the outside. I personally recently developed this scar. People always question me, but for me, it's more of it doesn't define me whatsoever. It doesn't limit me from actually doing what I'm supposed to do.
Yeah.
Because there's a time too that we shall be out of this world. But the most important part, let's ensure that we find that thing that we do with simplicity, with less difficult, that we're passionate about, that we love with all our heart, and bring it to accomplishment in this contract that we have on earth until we meet in heaven, really, on the streets of God. Can't wait to see everyone. And remember that side, what the faith teaches us. We don't have this
There'll
body,
be no more pain.
you know,
No more
there's
suffering,
no more
no more
suffering,
tears.
no more tears.
Yeah.
So how about we experience that while we're still on earth and just transition into that experience? Because life, at some point, really, please let everyone think about it. Eternity is real. Eternity is real. There's a time that life will go on forever because the Creator is from forever to forever, and we are working
just
to go
a brief
back.
moment.
Yeah,
It's just a brief moment.
If you looked at it,
with small challenges that can shape who you
that
are,
shape who you are,
and who you will be forever,
and bring that big person out.
Because that person, will live forever.
Yeah. Anytime you feel like you're going down, you're feeling emotionally low, research about Vitiligo and see people who have interesting stories, people who have conquered, people who have won. Yeah, you are a mother, you are a father. Please don't abandon your children, don't abandon your husband. I mean, it's just a condition which doesn't have to condition
color.
you.
It's just color.
You know, yeah, it's just color.
Yeah.
And I want to say one thing.
Yes.
If being black, if being white and being black do not matter, why should being both do?
Good question.
Why shouldn't?
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you so much,
Thank you
Martin.
for having
Thank you
me.
guys for watching.